I'm amazed at the power, the growing power of mass media, especially with the proliferation of social media and internet, what you call it, digital media. I mean, just information or opinion is reached by so many. And even in 20 years ago, was it that the US lost the Vietnam War because of its own mass media changed the opinion of the American public? That was powerful enough, but today it's really amazing. And as wielders of this powerful tool that can pave the path to peace and togetherness, or the path to conflict and war, I think the journalist has a big burden, really moral burden, on them. And that is the responsibility. The responsibility in doing your job of gathering, screening, giving out information, but also accountability in following up the results, the outcome with integrity and balance. I think balance is very important. Now, the outer actions with balance comes from the inner balance. The practice that practicing Buddhists use to eliminate clinging, upadana, which is the cause of suffering of both oneself and also it can cause a lot of suffering to others as well, especially those. The three aspects of the training are entwined, with sila as the most basic, is physical behavior, and panya as the highest and the most spiritual level. Mindfulness is a quality that is developed from the practice. For communication, it is an exploration of what arises in one's own mind, one's own emotion, one's own bias, the motive of what we are about to do, our own motive. Has to be in samadhi part of well, here I describe it as mental collectedness, composure of mind, and concentration. It's really objective watching of what arises within your mind, your own mind. It is the space of knowing, in this space one is able to decide rather than react. The threefold training, the quicker you are able to catch what's happening in your mind, on contact with whatever post that is, and in that space of knowing, you know your motive intrinsically. You know what the outcome could be. And so you're really a master of your action, not a slave of your reaction. When we talk about mass communication, it's communication mass. I think mass communication should begin with intra-communication. Because what you put out is colored by what you are, your bias, your likes and dislikes. Insight in Buddhism is different from knowledge. Knowledge depends on the rational and intellectual understanding, while insight is the intuitive wisdom that arises from a mind that is perfectly balanced and concentrated. It changes us at the core. In this context, I will speak about panya as wisdom that is the true understanding of the law of causality, which accounts for the cycle of nature and interconnectedness between all beings. In speaking of the Western concept of individual rights and freedom freedom of expression so much mentioned in mass communication, I would like to turn our attention to Merriam-Webster Dictionary's first definition of individualism. It says, the leading of one's life in one's own way without regard for others. So this is the very first definition in Webster. This is contrary to the Buddhist concept of human being as a part of the structure of interdependence and interconnectedness in nature. By the way, this interdependence and interconnectedness of all existing things has been proven in quantum physics, theory of everything, which has become the name of a very famous film. I saw it 3 times. Individualism, writes Tibetan Buddhist monk Matthew Ricard, can foster a spirit of initiative and creativity, but it can also very quickly degenerate into irresponsible selfishness and rampant narcissism. I think a lot of people who who is said to be very individualistic think they are liberated beings, but actually they really are without mindfulness. They are really slaves of their own emotions, their own biases, their own wants and dislikes, pulling in and pushing out. The wisdom of seeing that I and mine, we and ours, are not so separate or so independent from the universal cycle of causality and interconnectedness would result in a more balanced perception and use of information to benefit society as a whole, because the result of this action, of anyone's action, would impact himself in this whole connectedness, his society, his region, and his world. Also his descendants, the next generation. With the mindfulness of Sila, Samadhi, and Panya, a journalist's individualism will naturally channel itself from the sphere of egotism to that of altruism, and make the powerful of mass communication